Do you plan on having babies? Well, there's one thing that people don't really tell you about. Society really doesn't prepare you for, and it starts with a P. And I went through this myself, and it can break a relationship, especially if the man doesn't change his total behavior, okay? And that is called postpartum depression. Now, I want you on your own to look it up and consider if it ever came up in your life, and if you're dealing with it now, to consider what I'm about to say. It is very, very, very serious. So, I'm not going to say a lot about my personal example out of respect for my late wife, even though she would always give me permission to freely speak and tell people about it. She kind of wanted to share it with people and people to understand what she was going through and what we was going through at that time. And this is not why she passed. It's just something that happened, years before. All right. So when a woman is pregnant and she's concerned about the baby, if she can handle it, if it's going to be well, it's going to have a good birth, and then after it especially, can she handle it? There's stresses, there's emotions, there's hormone imbalance, there's all kind of things going on. I'm not a doctor, but I did experience, a lot of paranoia, a lot of stress, a lot of emotional, breakdowns, basically. And sometimes 3 a.m. when I had to work, sometimes daily when I had to work, like the next day, or I'd be called from the job to go to the hospital, make sure she was okay. Now, I'm saying this happened a lot, and for some it could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that this deep level of concern for the baby's well-being, or deep level of just paranoia or lack of confidence in motherhood, those kind of things. These are basics, what I'm talking. But if the man, the partner, doesn't make radical changes to his expectations of his wife and of his marriage or relationship, it's probably going to go down. So men, in this case, have to become super sensitive, more caring than you've ever been, more patient than you've ever been, and watch your mouth. Because if someone is already depressed and you say certain things, that is going to just trigger them more. It may make them feel worse. And now, it's just going to make the whole situation bad for everyone. And you also have to be careful. She's going to need therapy. You're going to need couple therapy. And you have to be careful of the medicines that are prescribed, because some of these medicines make people hallucinate, which we ended up not, deciding on. But I was told stories by some people who have dealt with these medicines, and they said one medicine, and pardon me for not remembering the names. I wasn't thinking that I was going there in this video. But one medicine, there was a picture of Jesus on the wall, and the person saw Jesus come off the wall. Another medicine, a friend of mine's son was trying to jump out the window. So I personally don't believe in these medications. Something, but not anything that's going to make you hallucinate. So you got to be careful. And you got to be careful about friends and family who say, oh, you should just take these meds. You should just do this. You should just do that. And at these times, most people aren't going to be around. If you say somebody has postpartum, and because it's very hard for anybody to deal with. It's one of those things you say, what's wrong? And the person doesn't have an answer, or the person shuts down, or the person gets upset, or the person starts crying, and you don't feel that you could help. You feel helpless. So when people feel helpless, they kind of disappear sometimes, some of them. It takes a really patient person to be able to deal with a person that has postpartum depression. So this is just one of those things that nobody told me about. And I had to go through it. And it happens to a lot of women. You can look it up. So there's a chance, and I hope it doesn't happen to you, but there's a chance that this might happen at some level. So I know everybody's like, oh, he fine, she fine, we getting together, happily married, and that's great. Oh, we having a baby, that's great. But if postpartum depression results, you're going to have to switch up the whole protocol and become very spiritual and very mature. You can't run away. You got to be there for her all the way, as much as possible, almost 24/7. It would be 24/7 unless you got to work. If you ain't have to work, just be there for her and the baby. And that's why some women do things to the baby, because they're not in their right mind anymore. You see that stuff on the news and stuff. So this is serious. That's what I'm here for, to tell you about serious things, because people run around here like relationships is just all playing with people and cut them off, go to the next one, curve and ghost and all this nonsense. Nah, sometimes it gets serious. Now, the rewards and the joys are when you stick together through these moments and you get over it and you get past it and you go celebrate and you go on vacay and you just enjoy each other. You enjoy the beautiful soulmate that God gave you. Okay, so study that. Take just a look, Google it. Postpartum depression, AI, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just in case, because else you will be blindsided. And that's not good in this life, you know what I'm saying? With everything else going on, you don't need to be blindsided. So I'm just keeping it real. There ain't nothing exciting about this video I just did, but it's highly informative for those that don't know. Okay? All right. So take heed, do your due diligence, do your research, and be prepared to be more in love than ever with your lovey, your love buddy. Okay? So like, share, and subscribe. I am Kamal Imani, and you are watching YouTube at Sirius, SERIUS, Relationships with Kamal Imani. Peace.